From the Blind Ability Studios, it's Wellness Wednesday with your host, Beth Gustin and Robin Ennis.
When you do meet people who may be a potential friend, those are the people that should make you feel good.
If I can put myself out there and portray myself as the other traits that make up who I am, then that blindness can become a secondary focus. And so in making new friends, they see the whole of me.
Reminding myself, but they don't know. They haven't been around me, so they don't know what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of. They're just going off of what they think versus reality.
They feel like a burden, and I want you to know that you are not a burden. Welcome back to Wellness Wednesday. My name is Beth Gustin, a licensed professional counselor here in Colorado, and I'm with my co-host, also in Colorado, Robin Ennis, a licensed clinical social worker. And I don't know about all of you, but I cannot believe we are in December, and this year has flown by and almost over. And we received a letter from someone asking us to expand more on friendships and navigating friendships with vision loss. And so we thought, given it's the holiday season for many of us, this is a relevant topic year-round, but especially right now. So that is what we're going to talk about for today.
It is a very relevant topic that's ongoing, but especially, like you mentioned, Beth, during the holiday season. I know I've noticed within my own therapy practice that quite a few clients have been asking me this question: how do I navigate family and friends with a visual impairment? They don't allow me to engage, like being in the kitchen with other people, or they feel like they have to watch me all of the time, or even not being invited at all, right? So some clients I have feel like their friend groups have treated them differently since their vision changed, and they don't get the same level of invites or attention that they had before. So that can be frustrating to navigate.
I've seen the same thing in my practice as well. And especially when it comes to being in the kitchen and doing the cooking, if it's something that person's done for years, now their family suddenly thinks they can no longer do it because they can't see, or they're going to hurt themselves because they can't see. And the lack of invites is real. I do think, similar with grief and loss, our friendship circles change, and they change when we acquire a disability as well, I think. And I believe that comes from a place of uncertainty or not knowing what they don't know. And so while it's hurtful, they're treating us differently, I don't think it's coming from a malicious place.
Right. And I was nodding my head as you were talking, right? So it is coming from a place of uncertainty, a place of not knowing. And so it can be exhausting, especially if you're coping or adjusting to your vision loss and it hasn't been very long. It can feel overwhelming, feeling like you have to educate other people on how to treat you. I truly do believe that we teach others how to treat us. And so eventually, your friends and family, if they are your supporters, right? They're the people who rally around you, then they'll learn from you eventually. It really does take time. Me personally, I became blind when I was 18 after my freshman year of college, and I met two really good friends. They're my best friends till this day, and they transitioned with me quite well from being sighted to being a blind individual. I joke quite often with my best friend, actually, because she, to them, and as it should be, I am just Robin. They don't see my blindness as a hindrance, but rather as just another part of my identity. And I feel that correlates to them still including me. When they visit Colorado, they go on hikes, they go camping. And of course, it's not a matter of fact of not inviting me. I've always been invited. And so they don't see it otherwise. And so it's possible, right? Looking around the people in your life, you may say, well, I don't feel like that's going to happen, but it can happen. And again, if those people are your true supporters, then they'll learn from you. They'll be wanting to be more open and just trying to collaborate, right? And figure it out together.
I agree with that. And I've been blind since birth, so my experience has been a little bit different, but I made new friends over the years, and I've had some friends for 30 plus years because those friends, while they may have had some questions about my vision loss and how I do things, they have always included me from day one. And we've actually been axe throwing as an example of something that you wouldn't think a person with blindness maybe should do or would do. But visual impairment and blindness in my brain doesn't stop us from doing much. And it's just natural that with a solid friendship, you are included. Now, those solid friendships take a long time to form. And I do think it is harder to make friends when we are older. And so I think it's important to think about not only how do we navigate maybe some of the conversations that come up about our vision loss with new people, but also about what are the ways in which we are comfortable enough to put ourselves out there to make friends. And so I'm thinking about something like, if you like to read, can you find a local book club at your library? Or can you go to meetup.com and find some groups that have interests that you like and see if you can join one of those? Because it is hard. It's hard to build a solid long-term friendship as it is not impossible. It is very doable, but not easy.
It isn't easy. It is hard. And they actually talk about it quite often on different morning shows or different print articles. The fact that because we get older, we tend to really have already formed inner circle, or we tend to really be involved in our work. So it can be harder to branch out versus when you're younger and engaged more in the social scene. But yes, I recommend to some of my clients, Beth, like you said, figuring out your hobbies and trying to go to groups like that. And again, it can be daunting, especially if you're an introvert, right? Maybe seem anxiety provoking, right? And so just taking it step by step. So, okay, maybe the first step will be, what am I interested in? And then the next step could be trying to figure out how to meet more people. Do you want to meet people first online in that particular area, or go to a meetup face to face? And so really taking it step by step and figuring out what makes you feel comfortable in meeting people. The one thing that I really want to reiterate is that when you do meet people who may be a potential friend, those are the people that should make you feel good, right? People who, again, over time get to see you for who you are versus for your disability, and realizing that it's one part of your identity and it doesn't encompass all of you. I had an exercise that I did with my friends, and I said, if you could describe me in one word, what would it be? And all of them used different characteristics regarding my personality, right? So that shows that they know who Robin is, and that makes up a good support network.
I also think it's really important that we, as the person living with the disability, portray ourselves in a similar light. So we don't put our disability first. Yes, it's a part of us. Yes, it impacts how we do things. But if we present ourselves as everything else that makes up who we are, others around us are going to see that too and be able to reflect back those traits that Robin just talked about.
That's a good point. Can you give an example, Beth, of how a person can put their disability first?
So actually, you're putting disability second in this case. So I may have misphrased it. So what I was saying is you portray yourself as a person with a bunch of other traits. And, oh, by the way, I just happen to be visually impaired. Mm-hmm. So we're not discounting the vision loss, but we're not putting it first. This gets a little tricky because some people do identify more as disability first because that is who they are. Others prefer to do the person first, disability second, because that's how they prefer to identify themselves. And neither way is wrong. What I was getting at was I think if we can portray ourselves as I'm a person who I like to laugh, I like to go to concerts, I like to meet new people, I like to go sing karaoke, so I kind of put those things first. And if I can put myself out there and portray myself as the other traits that make up who I am, then that blindness can become a secondary focus. And so in making new friends, they see the whole of me. I hope that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. I think that's a great example, seeing the whole person. I like that. I think that's a great illustration for people, because I think that especially people who are newly diagnosed with whether it's a visual impairment or any disability, they feel like that's who they are in this moment. And that's all that encompasses them. And it's hard to see themselves outside of that. I think that some people can get really stuck in that. So thanks for illustrating that, Beth. I think that's important.
It isn't easy because, like Robin said, when we are newly diagnosed, all we can see is our vision loss and what that doesn't mean for our future and all the loss that comes with that. And yes, there's a place and time for that as well. But if we can work towards remembering that we still have similar interests we've always had, we still have the same beliefs we always had, we can use those things to build friendships.
Yeah. And the more that you become comfortable with yourself, the more that your family and friends will see that and will become comfortable as well. Because, in society, we do have to regularly combat or try to overcome those preconceived notions or stereotypes that people have on disabilities. So try and be a champion of yourself. Again, there's hard moments and frustrating moments, but it's trying to be able to navigate them the best you can and realizing that if people are treating you a certain way, it's more than likely not out of ill intent, but like Beth mentioned earlier, out of not knowing. I myself, I have some extended family members that I don't talk to very often. So I don't even know the right word, honestly, I'm going to be completely honest. I get angry, and I've been blind for 21 years, but people had these misconceived notions. So I had some extended family members who would tell my mom, wow, you let her live by herself. And I'm like, well, what do you mean let? Like, I'm a grown adult. So people, no matter, how long you've been blind or whatnot, people are going to have these preconceived notions. Just try to not to take them personally. And it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be angry, right? We're human, but it's trying to figure out how to be able to express those emotions in a healthy way. When I'm feeling angry or frustrated, I do deep breathing, right? Like counting to a count of 4 and going to my safe place, which is a beach. I'm trying to do things like that and then grounding myself and reminding myself, but they don't know. They haven't been around me, so they don't know what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of. They're just going off of what they think versus reality.
And that could be a whole other topic that I think we should probably talk about in a podcast, just as far as like, how do you cope with people's ignorance or people's beliefs that we are not capable of doing all the things that we are capable of doing.
Right.
And I think it's important to remember, unfortunately, when we have a disability, we are shoved into the role of educator, whether you want to be or not. And being able to have those coping skills in the moment where you can say, I don't want to play 20 questions today, or I don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm going to hear about people letting me do things. It's having those tools in your toolbox and those coping skills to be able to take a step back and breathe and ground and realize that in those cases, it's not about you. It's about them and what they don't know.
Exactly. And like we mentioned in the last podcast, Beth, is that it's okay to say no, right? Like you just mentioned, it's okay to say, I don't want to discuss this right now, or I don't want to go into detail of my disability, whatever it may be. Creating those boundaries, those limits for yourself can help you emotionally, as well as help the other person know what is appropriate and what's not appropriate.
Exactly.
However you choose to navigate different social situations, just know that you are worth it. You have a lot to offer people, and it's trying to find your right group of friends, your right support network.
And I want to end with this because I hear this from a lot of my clients. They feel like a burden. And I want you to know that you are not a burden.
Most definitely not. You are not a burden. You are worthy.
As always, please stay grounded and take care. And we look forward to being back with you in about 2 weeks.
Until next time, take care.
You can send Beth and Robin a message at 612-367-6093 or by email at info@blindabilities.com. They'd love to hear from you.
When we share
what we see through
each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the reality of blind abilities.
And the realities of blind abilities.